going live in my Facebook group, and then we'll get started. Today we are talking about the question. I'm addressing the question, can I go 8 hours without pumping at night? Because we are tired, right? And I remember at one of the early appointments in my son's life at his pediatrician, we were doing weight checks because he had lost a certain amount of weight. They were wanting him to get back to birth weight, and it was very exhausting and stressful. And I remember the nurse asking me, "Are you pumping every 4 hours?" And I was so annoyed by this question because I'm like, look, lady, mama's gotta sleep, okay? So if baby's gonna let me sleep more than 4 hours, you best believe I'm gonna go longer than 4 hours without pumping. So I just wanted to address this question because I totally get it. And the short answer is that, especially early on in baby's life, early postpartum, when you're still really establishing that your supply, you're not going to want to go 8 hours without pumping. My son's pediatrician gave me permission to go 6 hours without pumping. So I would set an alarm for 6 hours after going to sleep so that I would get up, or 6 hours after, it wasn't 6 hours after going to sleep, it was 6 hours after the last time I had pumped. And when you measure time between pumping, you're measuring start to start, not like finish to start or finish to finish. Like it is the time you started pumping last time to the time you started pumping this time. That's your gap in pumping or feeding. And so I would say, I get it when you're tired, you need to sleep. Sleep is so important for basic human function. And as far as going 8 hours without pumping, if you need to do this once, if you're just so tired, then you're gonna wake up uncomfortable. Honestly, there were times when I was on maternity leave that I can't remember. I couldn't tell you. It's kind of a blur with the, all of the whirlwind that is postpartum. But I remember waking up possibly before the 6 hours were up because I felt engorged. I felt like I was in pain. I needed to pump. And I would wake up in a puddle of my own breast milk. So it's early on, it's not usually a good idea to go 8 hours without pumping, whether that be for supply or for your own comfort. Because if you want a successful breastfeeding journey, you are going to want to make sure you have plenty of supply, and having things like a clogged duct or a milk bleb or mastitis. I never had that, thankfully, but I did struggle with clogged ducts every so often, and milk blebs were awful until I sized up in pumping bras. But anyway, so that's what I have to say about that. So nighttime feedings are really important for increasing your supply, or keeping up your supply. And it totally depends on your situation. Do you want to guarantee your success in breastfeeding? Then I don't suggest going 8 hours without pumping or feeding. Unless it's a total one-off situation and you're not going to make a habit out of it, because long stretches between feedings regularly will definitely decrease your supply. And ask your pediatrician. You can ask your pediatrician if you have questions in your specific situation. But in general, this is what I recommend. This is what was recommended to me. And yeah, what else did I want to say about that? I think that's pretty much it. I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to say that I am forgetting right now. But all of my notes, I've addressed all of my notes. So, okay, I guess that's it for now. So I did want to tell you that in the description of this video, I have a link for a list of 35 one-handed snacks for breastfeeding moms that's completely free to you. And if you want more information on this, you can definitely read the blog that goes with this video, and that's in the description of this video as well. And I guess that's it for today. So, long story short, I know you're tired. Naps are great. Naps are wonderful. Getting a long stretch of 8 hours of sleep this early postpartum. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So, getting in a long stretch of 8 hours of sleep early on postpartum is not realistic. You can do 6 hours max. So I have that tied up nicely in a pretty bow for you. Now, I will say, as you go on in your breastfeeding journey and baby becomes more dependent on solid foods, this is when you can get a little bit more lenient with it. However, I will say, still, if you're going to go longer in between feedings regularly, that is going to decrease your supply. A hack, I would say, it's not for everyone, it worked for us, is co-sleeping and sideline nursing. So I would be in bed with my baby, and there are safe ways of doing this. And I would be on my side, and he would be nursing essentially while we're sleeping. So if you have questions about that, you can feel free to message me and we can talk about it. And having a trusted pediatrician to ask these questions to that's an invaluable asset during this time. You definitely want a trusted pediatrician that aligns with your values in your corner while you're raising your child. It's just, there's nothing like it. So that's it for today, and I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time.